Happy Easter and Passover to those who celebrate. So, if you've ever celebrated Passover, you know it takes a really long time, and there is just such a long time of reading. And so, in this video, I aimed to conquer that boredom and time with alcohol, and I'll tell you that story. So, when you're reading I think it's called the Haggadah, I don't know, I'm never paying attention. You go through, it's like an hour of text, and it's all in Hebrew, and you're just reading from this book, and it's like one of the most boring things, and you're just looking at your food, and you're like, I can't wait to get some, like, I don't know, whatever you're eating. I don't know what other people eat. I have a specific diet, but you know, you can't wait to eat whatever. And so you're just sitting there staring at your food and listening while you can't eat to prayers and Hebrew, and it's all this Hebrew stuff, and it just goes on forever. But the one thing that's interesting about it that kind of caught my eye and made me think is you are drinking wine through this. And so theoretically, if you drink enough wine, this could make it interesting. And they'll say something, and then they'll be like, blah, 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 blah. And then you drink some wine. And then blah, 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 blah. And you drink some more wine. And so basically, like, a big part of the celebration is drinking wine. So, we all know this is boring. If you've ever celebrated it, it's boring. And that's the point of it. The point of it is to make you, at peace and, mellow out and just relax. But me, I'm kind of like a high-strung guy, and it's not so easy for me. And it's every year I do it, and it's very difficult, and it's not fun for me. And so I thought, okay, my original idea was, what if I double the amount of wine, and then I'm drinking it so it becomes more enjoyable through it. And so I was thinking about doing that, but just in my family, it's not very customary to drink any wine, and me drinking double might be perceived as like, I obviously don't want to be like partying with my family. And so I said, okay, no to double the wine, but yes to alcohol. How do you do that? Half wine, half vodka. I think I put about 4 shots and mixed it with wine. And there's like 4 or 5 times you drink, I think. And so each time, basically, I would drink a shot whenever they said it. And so I had, so I mixed half and half, so the ratio, so you couldn't tell it wasn't wine. My wine did look a little lighter than the other people's, but I don't think anyone noticed that. It could have just been like grape juice for all they know. And so we're sitting at the table, we're sitting around, and the men are reading in Hebrew or whatever. And I'm not the youngest, I'm not a kid anymore. So I'm not old, and I don't know anything. So there's not really anything expected of me, basically. And so I'm just sitting there. And so whenever they tell us to drink, I drink what's basically a shot and like some extra due to the wine. And so, yeah, it seems like a really good idea to me. And I think it is a good idea. You're going to see in this video why it becomes a really good idea, and I think you should try it too if you're anything like me. But basically, what feels like an hour of just torture, it starts to go by so quick, because you're starting to kind of like, I don't know, I think the message gets into my ears more. Usually I maintain, like, I'll retreat into my own head and start thinking about stuff just because I'm so bored. And there's stuff in Hebrew and there's stuff in English, and like obviously I don't really understand the Hebrew, but even the stuff in English I don't listen to, I'm not receptive to, because it's so boring. And yeah, everyone tells me, oh, you're gonna get old and you're gonna have to do this with your own kids one day and you have to learn, but I've got some time and I'll just figure it out when I need to. Because I mean, it's a great tradition, don't get me wrong. I love it, but just, I don't know, just how I'm strung, it's like very, and we've all been kids, if you've celebrated, you've all been there and you've all had to deal with it. But just for me, at least, I don't want to partake in the way normal people do. And so yeah, it was going great for me. I know there's like this one part where you sing a song. I think it's I can't really remember. I think it's like, isn't it? You're going like die 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 die. But I was that by that time, because that's near the end, at least for how we did it. I I was just like I I okay, I did kind of get on the table a little bit, which could be seen as disrespectful, but I think my energy, the energy I was bringing to the Passover celebration was like immaculate, and everyone loved it. And basically I grabbed the hands of my brothers and sisters next to me and started dancing, and I even got on the table a little bit. And it was a great time. I it was kind of like being at the club, um because we I was dancing, and I was like kind of like grinding up on my cousins a little bit. And it was just like this is what religion is supposed to be, and this is what I think probably if you'd ask like ancient Jews, this is probably what they wanted. But the dogma and the strictness kind of ruined it and made it not fun for all. So, and then there was one part at the end, near the end, when I was just like, they mentioned this was the only embarrassing part. You should know yourself on alcohol. I haven't really experimented enough with it in a family setting. I kind of started at like a high dosage, but um, they mentioned something about double dipping, and you know, I don't know if you've ever seen the Seinfeld clip about double dipping, but I was cracking up because I heard them mention double dipping, and oh my god, my like everyone looked at me when I laughed, and they were just kind of looking at me like what, and then I was like, they were like, oh, why are you laughing? And I was just like kind of dying. I'm like punching my knee. I'm like, ah. And then I was like, Seinfeld. And then I saw a few chuckles about the room, and people started to get it. But yeah, Seinfeld is hilarious. Everyone loves Seinfeld, and it's Passover. So yeah. Um. So yeah, if you celebrate Passover, happy Passover. If you celebrate Easter, happy Easter. If you don't celebrate, happy celebrations. Um, but yeah, that's my story. That's why I think if you're similar to me, you should try this. And yeah, it overall the reception was really good, and people were happy to see me, coming and putting myself up at the table and being a person who was interested in the culture and the reading, and it really did make me a lot more perceptive. And I was thinking about the things I said and reflecting on my own personality, which I think is a very important part of religion, which and people get so superstitious about it, and that's not what you're supposed to do. The point is for you to reflect in your spiritual path. And so yeah, don't be superstitious, and be try and be spiritual, and take what you learn to your inside and to your life. And yeah, have a great holiday. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe.